So every now and again on the channel comes along a product that I am genuinely very excited to share with you guys, because today we have a really good microphone from a company called Feelworld. If you haven't heard of them, they've been in the broadcast and I guess content creation space for about 13 years now, and this is their first microphone, the PM1. So I guess it stands for Podcast Microphone 1. It's a dynamic USB-C / XLR combo microphone. It's got some RGB on there. It's got a full metal body in terms of the construction, and for about $69 US or about 110 Australian dollars, you can get yourself a really good entry-level microphone that's going to give you really clean audio for your next podcast, YouTube content creation, Twitch streaming, or just wanting a better microphone to talk to your friends with on Discord. So today I'm going to get this microphone out of the box. I'll share with you guys what comes included, how it sounds in USB mode, and then we'll put it in XLR mode to see if there's any difference there as well. But overall, I can tell you right now, you're going to be very, very impressed. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to chuck it a like. Links to everything down in the video description as well. Get subscribed and let's begin. Now, just for a quick comparison as well, the microphone that I've been using now for probably the last 2 years is from Yamaha. This is the YCM01. It's a condenser microphone. It goes for about 170 Australian dollars. It's only XLR, so you need to provide your own audio interface, an XLR cable, as well as a boom arm. So it's not necessarily a microphone that is going to suit everyone. It does sound, I think, pretty clean and quite nice, and gives you lots of flexibility once you sort of play around with the EQs and the gates and the compression and all that kind of stuff. But this is a much more expensive microphone that only does one thing. So now let's get the PM1 hooked up to the boom arm and the cable and everything else, and let's see how it sounds. So let's see what comes included with the Feelworld PM1 microphone. It's actually $69 on their website with a stand. If you want to get it without a stand because you've got your own boom arm, you can actually pick it up for $59 US. But packaging wise, very simple. You're not going to get Apple packaging or anything like that. But when you open it up, you get a very, very simple Chinese user manual. It is in English, which is nice. It tells you how to connect it to your Windows or your Mac PC. You get a metal base for the actual microphone itself. Like I said, if you don't want the stand, you can save $10 and you can invest that in a boom arm, or buy yourself a lunch. I don't care what you do with it, but it's a really nice metal base, nice and thick, good heavy base, not going to move anywhere on your table. And then you've got the microphone itself. On first impressions, packaging wise, put that aside, this microphone is really nice to hold. A full metal body, you've got that dial there on the front to adjust your microphone and your audio levels, and then you've got a capacitive button, which also is a tap to mute. So if you want to tap to mute when you're maybe taking a break or something, you've got the actual capsule for the microphone protected by a pop filter, a little bracket there to go into your boom arm, so 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch, or 3/8 inch, and 5/8 inch threads. And then you've got that RGB ring around the outside. But overall, it's a pretty sleek looking microphone. And then what else do we have included? We've got a few cables. So the first cable is a USB Type A / Type C to Type C cable. So it's actually nice that they don't use an adapter. They've actually just got one cable that breaks out to be one or the other. About 1.8 meters long, plastic, pretty standard. And then they've got a fairly cheap XLR cable as well. But it's nice at least that they do include an XLR cable, even though it is cheap. But from my testing, had no issues with it at all. Then you've got this little thread adapter that goes basically onto the base of the stand. Once you screw that in, that then connects to the bracket for the microphone, and you've got yourself a nice little stand. So if you're traveling or doing a podcast and you don't have a boom arm and you are a little bit more mobile, then this might be worth the $10 investment. It's not super tall and you can't adjust the height or anything like that, but overall it does feel quite nice. It's not going to move anywhere, and you can obviously adjust the tension on the outside of the microphone. The microphone itself, on the bottom, you've got a XLR connection, a USB Type-C connection, and then you've also got a audio jack, because it does have zero latency audio monitoring. So if you want to plug in a pair of headphones to hear yourself and monitor yourself, you can do that. So overall, really nice package for $69 US. So we've now got the microphone hooked up to my PC in that USB-C mode. We've got the headphones plugged into the bottom of the mic because it does have zero latency audio monitoring. You can also mix your audio levels using the dial on the front of the mic. But overall, what do you guys think of this microphone? Personally, I think it's got a really nice, rich, clean, warm sound. It's definitely more towards the bass end. It's a little bit more bassy than some people might like, but personally, if you're going to be getting a microphone for Discord or podcast or Twitch streaming, YouTube, I personally like that warm sound. It might not be suitable if you're wanting to maybe play instruments into it or sing into it, but if you're buying a dynamic microphone, your main focus is going to be vocals. And I think personally that this is a really nice sounding microphone. And on camera as well, like the full metal body with the RGB ring going around the outside, that pop filter, the little bracket that comes included to attach it to a boom arm. I think overall it just looks like a really nice package, and I think most people would probably think it costs a lot more than it actually does. So now we've got the microphone hooked up again to my audio interface using that XLR connection. Now, one thing to note is that if you do want to run it in the XLR mode and have the RGB ring around the microphone like I do now, you do have to connect a USB-C cable and then I guess monitor and modify your settings within Windows to make sure that you are actually using that XLR connection for your, I guess, audio capture. If I was to pull out the USB-C cable, you can still hear that everything still works as expected, but really the only point of having the USB-C connection going when you are in that XLR mode is just to basically illuminate that RGB ring. Otherwise, all of your controls for the actual sound of the microphone are going to be done through your interface and your software, whatever that might be. But at the moment, you're hearing it through the Yamaha ZG01 mixer that I've been using for a while now. There's no EQs, there's no gates, there's no limiters or compression or anything like that. This is just raw audio from the microphone. And again, I think it sounds a little bit better than that USB mode, a little bit richer. But once you sort of start messing around with and playing with the different things you can do within your mixers, hardware or software, you can push the sound of the microphone even further and get a really good sounding microphone, which I think is the big appealing factor for these microphones, being that you can start off with something simple just like USB plug and play, and then if you want to level up later on, you can just get yourself a mixer and an XLR cable without too much money, and you can, start to really push the limits of what this microphone can actually do. So what I'll do now is I'll turn on a noise gate, a EQ and a limiter, and I think now it actually sounds a little bit better than what it did before. Just a little bit better on the high ends, a little bit cleaner, not so much bass as it probably sounded when you first heard it. But overall, I think, again, once you turn on a few effects and you're running an XLR connection, this microphone is just absolutely outstanding, in my opinion, for the money. Now, it's not all perfect and rainbows. There are a few little nitpicks that I do have with this microphone that I hope they can maybe fix in the PM2 if they decide to do another microphone. First of all, running an XLR connection, there's no RGB on there at all. I think that's a bit of a bummer. It'd be nice just to have some sort of LED indication on the microphone that it's actually on. So XLR can provide just a small amount of power to LEDs. And if they could just illuminate this with a red or a blue or green or something, just to tell you that the microphone is active and it's on, that would be great. The other small nitpick that I do have is in terms of maybe the engineering or the manufacturing of the microphone in the USB mode. So what I was able to hear with only about 60% gain on the microphone is quite a bit of, I guess, interference. I know I say quite a bit because I'm quite sensitive to these sounds, but compared to other microphones that I've used, like the Duocast from HyperX, where there was absolutely no, I guess, interference sound or static sound or noise, if you want to call it that, and then switching over to this, I was a little bit kind of like, oh, that would have just been the one thing that if they nailed it, would make this a standout microphone. But they're honestly just two very, very small nitpicks. Overall, the construction of the mic, the little filter they've got, the flexibility and that warm, rich sound of this microphone is going to please, and I think a lot of people are just going to find this microphone very easy to listen to. So that's all I have to say about this microphone from Feelworld. I think they've done an outstanding job. If you have any questions about the microphone or anything that I've talked about in the video, hit me up down in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys. Links to everything is down there as well. And if you want to see another really good quality, affordable product, go and check out a keyboard that I recently reviewed called the Ola F75. It's a mechanical keyboard, again, about 70 American dollars, and it is really, really good. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.